When you eat out, how long do you wait to be seated? Was the waiter and the food satisfactory? Let's be honest. There are times where you were disappointed with your service and wanted to burn the place down. Jokes aside, there are things that can change, not just on the food industry's part, but as consumers as well. You should stop eating at chain food restaurants because they're expensive, unhealthy, and often sell bad service. When you're eating out, you tend to spend more on a meal than you would a week's worth of groceries. A burger's price can go as high as $8. The food industry often puts a huge price on what they claim is exclusive. Carl's Jr., for example, back in 2012, had a $6,000 combo meal exclusively sold in Las Vegas. The only reason why it was $6,000 was because it came with a very expensive bottle of wine. A more serious example is Sam's Club's $2.50 combo for a large slice of pizza and a large soda, compared to McDonald's $12 cheeseburger meal and $3 Happy Meal. Sam's Club would still be the better option. A better way to avoid prices instead of comparing them is to just save money. You could stay at home, cook those groceries that you've bought, and save money. There are also companies that you could pay, like HelloFresh, to help provide groceries for a very low price and recipes adjusted to the consumer's taste. These companies also have many deals depending on what your meal plan is. Eating out is not only expensive, but it is unhealthy. Fast food makes consumers vulnerable to high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and often lacks fruits and veggies. These are things that can result in extreme heart disease. After reviewing several health inspection reports provided by Tulsa Health Department on their website, I researched and picked out 3 chain restaurants that are popular. These restaurants had reoccurring violations. Excuse me. These restaurants, such as Waffle House, all of these restaurants were Waffle House, Olive Garden, and Steak and Shake. They did not surpass cleaning utensils or the proper use of utensils. Additional things were rusted shelves and venting issues, and clutter on counters, unclean counters. Depending on the food being cooked, if utensils are not cleaned or being used properly, consumers could be exposed to sickness. Excuse me. Apart from the expense and health issues, another reason why you should stop eating at chain restaurants is to avoid unwanted conflict, especially with workers. It's not a foreign concept for a restaurant to mess up an order or for a worker to give undesirable service. The only way to measure bad service is to read personal reviews. And so a 1-star review from Yelp from Dylan from Texas read that he had arrived at an Olive Garden at 1:30 for lunch. He had to wait long enough for him to count 20 available tables. He was told that those 20 tables were reserved for a party and had to wait for another available table. When he was seated elsewhere, the area was filthy, including the seats, the tables, and the floor. There were multiple reviews complaining about unclean stations, the food, and customer service. As I continued to read, reviews went on about the same, if not worse, situations. And I noticed that Olive Garden cared enough to reply to the majority of their customer reviews. Each one read more or less, "We are sorry to hear about your experience. Please let us know at this given email to help better future experiences." Based on how many customers from 2017 up to now have complained about the same situations, I think it's safe to say that disappointment is a very high possibility. With infamous restaurants like Olive Garden, who have similar results, you're better off not eating at chain restaurants at all. Seeing as these mistakes in the food industry have continued, I've concluded that disappointment is an undying high possibility. Some people eat fast food for almost every day, for every meal of the day, every day of the week, which can lead to unhealthy heart disease. Not only is it unhealthy, but it is expensive. Consumers can save more by cooking at home instead of buying 3 Happy Meals a day, which can amount to a week's worth of groceries. If you stop eating at chain restaurants, you are open to affordable and better food choices and VIP treatment. If you're home cooking for yourself, you don't have to answer to anyone or bother tipping. And depending on the food you cook, you can eat healthier and avoid heart disease.